Alright, hello everyone. We gotta talk about more crime news again because the media is just ignoring it. We're also gonna talk about some quality of life stories that we need to address as well in Queens because something wacky is happening in Rego Park. And we actually had a similar problem in Fresh Meadows, but that didn't get media coverage. So, we'll get into that. And, we're just gonna start off with Spectrum News, New York won again. And once again, nothing about crime on their front page. So let's take a look and see what we have to find. Firefighters get vaccine. Okay, that's important stuff, which, I'll get into my closing thoughts about the virus on Thursday, which I have a video going up on New Year's Eve. But I want to get this one out today because there's a lot we got to talk about. Seriously, nothing about crime. Public safety. Okay, man shot leg. Ooh, okay, that's a serious story. One person dead at wall collapse in Sunset Park. I want to read that. Yeah, so the crime is getting out of hand again. So, I'll take a look and see if anything else is around. That's Brooklyn, so I want to read that. I want to focus on Queens. That's important. We're going to talk about my precious Queens getting ruined. It's each day I'm just seeing it. So let's see if we can find news. So let's see public safety. That's where you have to find it, sadly. Let's see what they have here. Okay. Shooting in Brooklyn. A man was shot in the leg in Brooklyn. Yikes. There actually is some public safety news on New York 1, but not in Queens. Not in Queens. Oh yeah, a man arrested for allegedly striking Cuomo aide in the head with a brick. I heard about that one. But again, I want to focus on Queens. I do want to read about what happened in Sunset Park. I also want to hear about this story. Washington Square Park. What's going on in Washington Square Park? Greenwich Village is also getting ruined too. Not just Midtown. Thank goodness. Alright, so let's read this story. One person dead, another injured after a wall collapse in Sunset Park. Okay. One man is dead and another critically injured after a 9-foot retaining wall collapsed on them while doing construction work at a home in Brooklyn. The FDNY responded to a call about a collapsed wall after 1 p.m. Monday at a building on 42nd Street near 5th Avenue in Sunset Park. Fire officials said the two men were working on the adjoining property on 43rd Street. Owners of the 42nd Street building allowed them to do work near the property line. Fire officials said when they arrived at the scene to assist, one man was already dead and another was taken into the hospital with critical condition. So let me center this. I do apologize. So, they did have to remove debris. There were no other victims. So only 2 people were involved, but sadly one person lost their life in this. A third worker had to go grab lunch, and when he returned he saw the wall collapsed. So, this was at a building at 453 43rd Street. Alright, so that's interesting to read. So they're going to stop working on it, but that's sad to even hear about. I want to focus more on the legit crime. So, what's going on at Washington Square Park in Greenwich Village? We got hoodlums! Lovely! Let's read this. Police have put out photos of 6 people wanted for allegedly assaulting an Asian woman in a subway station for not wearing her mask. They also made racist comments towards her, so they're being suspected. And by the way, there was another incident of racial profiling in Manhattan, but I'm not going to get into that because, maybe the white woman had mental illness. We don't know. I mean, people always jump to conclusions. Okay, so this incident happened December 17th at the West 4th Street station in Manhattan. Police say the group of 3 men and 3 women got into an argument with the woman, made anti-Asian remarks, and punched the woman in the face several times before running off. So, Yeah, I mean, they gave out this information on Sunday. So, yeah, 27th. So, just disturbing. Very disturbing. You know, happened on the subway. And here's something hypocritical. You know, these what makes these people hypocrites. So they're trying to talk to the Asian woman for not wearing her mask. Yet, this woman, let me see if my mouse cruiser can help it here. This woman, this man, and this woman were, you know, not wearing their mask in the subway station. I mean, that makes everyone a hypocrite. Wow. Just wow. So, crime out of hand. So let's get into Queens because we have a lot to get into. The media, again, is ignoring us. What else is new? Because, again, they have coronavirus fever. So, they don't have coronavirus fever per se. I'm just saying they have a fascination with it. And, honestly, I'm sick and tired of them not covering the crime. You know, just like how on Long Island, Pine Power is getting double-crossed in Nassau. And yet, again, I keep getting double-crossed here in Queens. Alright, so what's going on the 112? Because this is alarming to even hear that crime is going up in Forest Hills and Rego Park. So, they're saying that crime increased nearly 8.4% in the 112 precinct from the year previous in 2019 through December 13th. Captain John Kappelman, commanding officer of the 112 precinct, said, while dealing with small numbers, the percentage fluctuates more. The 569 index crimes are a jump from 525, but come out to about one more a week. A few crimes a week will drive my percentage increase significantly, whereas in a command that has a lot more crime, it won't move the percent as much, Kappelman said. A lot of times you get caught up on the percentages. There's not to say that there hasn't been many issues, just as everyone wearing masks due to COVID, making it more difficult to find perpetrators, in addition to people being released early due to COVID. It's just a whole bunch of things all at once. It's really been a struggle. Burglaries have spiked 151%, with 123 incidents up from 49. Kappelman said commercial burglaries have been seeing an uptick after 4 weeks. He said Queens Boulevard is seeing incidents as well as the first in 3 months on Metropolitan Avenue. That's pretty much they're pretty much targeting the register. Money was removed from donation boxes at Beth Rego Buckram congregation on 108th Street, but thankfully there has been an arrest. Burglaries are tough to track. And, you know, again, the bozos just putting them in homeless hotels. So what else is new? That's why it makes it even more difficult. Some of them could be here at the Wyndham Garden in Fresh Meadows for all we know. Robberies have increased nearly 53% with 52 incidents up from 34. Vehicle thefts have jumped nearly 66%. So lovely, carjackings are going up. With 63 incidents compared to 38 last year. And of course, it's also people being stupid. It's people keeping their keys in their cars, doors being left unlocked. So obviously, it causes a problem. You know, you can't be that stupid. And also, another thing is, the reason why car thefts go up in the winter months is because people are warming up their cars. You're not supposed to do that. Alright? You know, the reason why my dad never did that was because he was afraid his car would get robbed. That made a lot more sense to just put your heat on when you get in the highway. Because at least your engine's already revved up and ready to go once you start it. See, I'm not too far from the LIE. On normal mornings, if I got lucky, I'd be able to have the heat on. So, honestly, you know, crime is just going up now in Forest Hills and Rego Park. Not just Astoria, too. Alright, more crime news. Police arrest man in connection with Ozone Park shooting. Police arrested an Ozone Park man for allegedly shooting a South Richmond Hill man in the head in southeast Queens earlier this month. Nazir Bazir has been charged with murder, manslaughter, and criminal possession of a loaded firearm after being arrested on Monday for the December 7th shooting of Raihizi Santiago in Ozone Park. Police received a call about the shooting at 9:50 p.m. on December 7th, which was a Monday. It showed up to 90-04 in Liberty Avenue to find Santiago with a gunshot wound to his head. Unfortunately, the victim was taken to Jamaica Hospital Medical Center where he was pronounced dead. So, obviously, shootings are going up. Now, here's something a little bit very odd. Traffic cop cuffed in domestic dispute in Eastern Queens. So where did this happen? So, let's see. They're not going to say where it happened, but it happened in the 105. Okay. So an off-duty traffic cop was arrested and charged with harassment and criminal mischief on Christmas Eve. Daniel Meme. Oh my god. Are you kidding me? His last name is Meme? Oh my goodness. 2020 just gets odder and odder every time I read these articles. Alright, so Officer Meme was arrested on December 24th at 6:30 p.m. after a domestic dispute led to charges of harassment and criminal mischief. Officer Meme was cuffed by other officers in the 105 precinct, has been suspended without pay, cops said, and will go without pay going into the new year. The investigation is ongoing, so... Ugh. That's a weird story to read. Why do I have this one twice? Hang on, I want to see if I can find that story in Jamaica. Yeah, I want to read this one first. Cops seek man who groped teen at Jamaica bus stop. So, Andy Q, if you're watching, you're welcome. The NYPD is searching for a man who grabbed the buttocks of a teenage girl in Jamaica earlier this month. Oh, happened right by Archer Avenue. Ugh. On Tuesday, December 8th, around 3 p.m., a 17-year-old girl was waiting for the Q113 bus at Archer Avenue to 160th Street, where an unidentified man approached her from behind, according to the NYPD. The man then grabbed her buttocks and then spit in her face, police said. He then ran off in an unknown direction. We do have surveillance footage of the incident, so let's take a look at it. So I will read the Crime Stoppers information as we go along here. Okay, any information, you can call the Crime Stoppers hotline at 1-800-577-TIPS, 8477. In Spanish, 888-57 pistas. So that is 74782. The public can also submit their tips by logging on to the Crime Stoppers website, nypdcrimestoppers.com, or you can submit it on Twitter at NYPDTips. So, I want to mention that that notably happened in Jamaica, because you know how the media is not going to cover that. And then look at this. Cops seek thief who robbed couple at knife point in Elmhurst. Police are searching for a man who robbed two people at knife point in Elmhurst last week. On Monday, December 21st, around 9 p.m., a man and woman, both 29 years old, were entering a residential building near Reeder Street and Queens Boulevard, where an unidentified man approached them. So lovely! This happened in the 112. The man took out a knife and tried to take the woman's purse. So, again, the Queens Chronicle is right. The 112 is seeing an uptick as well, so it's not just Astoria. Like I'm trying to mention. The woman fought back and grabbed the purse back from the thief, dropping her phone on the pavement in the process. The assailant then picked up the phone and ran off northbound on Reeder Street. And the male victim chased after him but lost sight of the robber soon after. Neither of the victims were injured during the robbery. So we do have surveillance video. Okay, so let's just read the description as we watch the video. Police described the suspect as being 20 to 24 years old, standing at 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighing approximately 150 pounds. He was last seen wearing a multicolored face mask, a black and orange hooded sweater with the word Puma on the front, black pants, and brown boots. So, my goodness. I will give credit. I think was the suspect wearing a face mask? No, the suspect was not wearing a face mask. Oh, well. Here's an epic fail. They actually caught him. Yeah, we actually have his picture. See what I mean? Even before the pandemic, I always said these criminals were stupid. Man, this is a new stupid even during this pandemic. Wow. Just wow. You know who it's brought to you by? Bail reform and Mr. New Yorkers love me. Right there. Here's something else. Corona woman found outside her apartment with gunshot wounds to chest and shoulder. Police are investigating the death of a woman who was found with gunshot wounds in her Corona apartment. Authorities say on Sunday at 3:20 p.m., the NYPD responded to a 911 call regarding an unconscious woman at 97-28 57th Avenue. Upon their arrival, EMS found 54-year-old Renee Harris lying out her apartment and rendering aid to her. She was found with gunshot wounds to the left side of her chest and the back of her right shoulder. Harris was rushed to Long Island Jewish Forest Hills Hospital, where she was pronounced dead. Harris' death has been ruled a homicide. However, the NYPD is continuing to investigate the matter of Harris's death. So, sad that I have to report this news that, there was a shooting in Corona. But it has to be covered because you know what it is. Everybody else is talking about the virus. And lastly, 2 more stories. Oh, I'm bad. 3 more. Okay. We do have something else in Jamaica. Andy Q, you're going to want to pay attention to this. Man found dead in Maspeth warehouse that had high levels of carbon monoxide. A man is dead after high levels of carbon monoxide were detected inside a Maspeth warehouse Wednesday afternoon. FDNY personnel received a call about high levels of the poisonous gas inside of a building at 54-19 Flushing Avenue on Wednesday, December 23rd around noon, after a man inside the building was found unconscious surrounded by heavy storage, according to the authorities. The unconscious man was pronounced dead in the warehouse. His cause of death will be determined by the medical examiner. Celia Stewart said, "He was a nice man. He couldn't do a lot for himself, but he cared about people." So, sad to even hear that it happened in Maspeth. Because that's where all the warehouses were. See, at least if they were going to get rid of Rikers Island, Maspeth could have at least been, let's think about it. Maspeth and Ridgewood are not Ridgewood, my bad. Ridgewood's more residential. Maspeth, you have the warehouses. So I don't know why this warehouse could have been turned into a jail. See, that's the idiocracy of de Blasio. But no, he doesn't understand location. So there you go. Now, here's something very crazy that Melinda Katz was able to find out, our district attorney. Unauthorized pit crew charged with theft. So where did this happen? So here's something interesting Melinda Katz found. 3 men have been busted after allegedly stripping cars of their tires and rims in the dead of the night for the past 6 months. So this has been going on since June. And we're first finding out about this. Okay, this is what Melinda Katz said. Under the cover of darkness and armed with car jacks and lug wrenches, these defendants allegedly stole tires and rims from more than a dozen cars. This kind of thievery costs car owners thousands of dollars, but this crew is now officially out of business. Wait a minute, hang on. This actually started in 2019? Oh my goodness. Jonathan Pacquiao of Corona was identified as the main defendant and had fled to Pennsylvania, where it became known that he was wanted by the police. So they did apprehend him and extradite him to Queens earlier a couple weeks ago. So almost 2 weeks ago. Okay. All right, here we go. So let's see what had happened here. So another person, Fabian Rodriguez of Corona and Jacob Martinez of Brooklyn, they wanted to rob car owners of approximately $42,000 for the tires and rims. So this happened between November of last year and May of this year. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. This happened in Bayside. The first incident. Here we go. The alleged crimes began November 7, 2019, when Pacquiao stole all 4 tires and rims from a 2019 Honda Civic near 233rd Street in Oakland Gardens just past midnight. He then propped up the car on milk crates for the owner to find the next morning. D.A. Katz said the ring of thieves continued to the crimes of a variety of neighborhoods. Oh, look at this. Fresh Meadows was also impacted. Ugh. Belrose, Hollis, Forest Hills, Middle Village, Fresh Meadows, Flushing, Ozone Park, Richmond Hill, Glendale, Jamaica Hills, Bayside, Maspeth, and Rego Park. Yep, so, again, another crime in the 112. This is something you cannot make up. Ugh. Here we go. According to the complaint, somebody bought Honda rims for Pacquiao in earlier part of 2020. So this is interesting. So they had allegedly linked this to a Honda Civic Sport that was robbed on December 12th of last year in Floral Park. Alright, Pacquiao participated in at least 13 thefts. He was arraigned on December 17th and charged on 3 complaints, charging him with auto stripping in the 1st degree, criminal possession of stolen property in the 4th degree, and grand larceny in the 4th degree. He'll return to court on February 11th, 2021. If he's convicted, he will face up to 7 years in prison. So honestly, this person should at least be 25 to life. I don't know why they're not being aggressive on this. Rodriguez was also charged with the same crimes on Martinez with the latter 2. So they'll also return to court on February 18th, 2021. Respectively, and face up to 7 and 4 years in prison. Okay. So I'm assuming they're probably going to be sentenced in Kew Gardens. So that's where I think it's probably going to happen. Because if this happened in Queens, that's where they're probably going to get sentenced. Just remember, that's where Chanel Lewis was sentenced. Look at this. So again, car thefts have gone up. That's why the 107's been notifying us about this. Speaking of the 107, an officer claimed that all 3 men were released without bail pending their next court. So again, they're going to be out committing more crimes. Lovely. Yep, it's all because of Mr. New York is not me. Alright. So, before we get to our last 2 stories regarding quality of life, let's get into this one. Home invasion at South Jamaica housing complex ends in deadly shooting. Detectives are investigating an apparent home invasion at a South Jamaica housing complex that happened on Monday, December 21st, that left a 26-year-old man fatally shot and 2 men with knife wounds. The incident happened at 12:44 p.m. inside a 6th-floor apartment within the Baisley Houses complex at 116-80 Guy R. Brewer Boulevard. According to preliminary information, the 2 individuals approached a 22-year-old man from behind and he was about to head into the apartment. One of the suspects put a gun into the man's head and forced their way into the residence. There, police said the 22-year-old man called out for help and a 27-year-old man then confronted the 2 suspects, leading to an altercation. The fight turned violent when someone pulled out a gun and fired a shot. It's not clear who pulled the trigger. The 22 and 27-year-old victims were also stabbed in the hands with a knife. Moments later, officers from the 113th Precinct and NYPD PSA 9 arrived on the scene after getting a 911 call about the incident. They were met by the 22 and 27-year-old victims who had exited the apartment along with a 25-year-old man who the pair identified as a suspect. Police were then informed of another individual inside the apartment. They found Hakeem Blackmissy, 26, of East 128th Street in Harlem, with a gunshot wound to his torso. So, sadly, there was a fatality of this deceased at Jamaica Hospital. So, you know what happens at Jamaica Hospital with the ER, so no arrests have been made in the ongoing investigations, so. Now we're going to move on to quality of life issues. So, Um, Here we go again in Ozone Park. Nearly after a long time, the sewage issue gets out of hand again. So here we go. Scott Stringer is not paying out. So again, the people who were affected by the sewage in 2019 still have not been compensated. So it's just been a big mess. Everybody remembers what happened. Back in Thanksgiving weekend 2019, raw sewage flooded over 100 houses in South Ozone Parks. Basements were destroyed. So obviously, why is this taking too long? This has been nearly a year, and these people in Ozone Park have not been compensated. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, this is so specific. So I'm not going to read any more, but they are putting the pressure on Ozone Park, so I just want to bring that up. Scott Stringer, city controller, shame on you. These people in Ozone Park deserve their money. Why are you taking so long to compensate them? And by the way, he's running for mayor, so good luck with that. You're not going to get votes in Ozone Park. So lastly, let's read this story. And I will mention that we had a similar problem in Fresh Meadows back in 2012, I think it was. But we didn't get coverage. We were only notified by the Homeowners Association. Alright, so let's get into this. Vicious squirrel attacks Rego Park's residents. Rego Park residents say squirrels have been viciously attacking them unprovoked and they don't know where to turn for help. So I heard about this on 1010 Win, so that's why I knew about it. Let me zoom in so you all can see this. And by the way, New York 1 didn't even cover this, so Rego Park residents are complaining that a pack of Punkinese squirrels are attacking them unprovoked. At least 5 people in the neighborhood have been bitten or scratched by squirrels on 65th Road and 65th Drive in the last month, according to residents who have spoken to Patch. This one resident, named Michelin Frederick, who had to go to the hospital after a squirrel attack was so vicious that it left her hands and arms covered with bites and her snowy front yard stained with blood. He was angry and he was vicious. This happened on December 21st. This was more than just a bite. This thing was fighting with me. Frederick said she was holding her front door open for 2 movers when the squirrel ran up to her and scurried her up her leg. She threw the squirrel off of her, but it pounced back onto her and started biting and scratching her. She bled so much that the snow in her front yard turned red. Yikes. Oh, hang on here. This is important quality of life news. I gotta read that. I'll wrap up with some good news, believe it or not. The attack left her pinky finger pretty chewed up and her hand bruised black and blue for days. She had at least 8 bites, prompting physicians in a nearby urgent care center to send her to the emergency room for rabies shots. So, that is scary. I mean, we had to call an exterminator in our house because a squirrel got into our attic. So, trust me, crazy things happen. Crazy. Just crazy. Hang on, folks. Speaking of quality of life, we have some good news in terms of the coronavirus numbers in New York. I just got a tweet from the governor's office. So, the numbers for December 28th, the rate of infection was 8.33. There is a little bit of good news today. The rate of infection went down in New York State to 7.14%. So, just a quick update on the pandemic. So, let's get back to the story here. Yikes. Yeah, look at that. See, there's blood in the front yard. The New York City Department of Health said squirrels are rarely infected with rabies. Since the agency started tracking New York City rabies cases in 1992, it has never identified a case of squirrels with the disease, with rabies being unlikely but not impossible. Rego Park residents say the city has declined to intervene. So this is crazy. So, if a wild animal is currently threatening or endangered people. Now this is interesting. A different incident happened in 2017 where an unusually aggressive squirrel attacked 5 people in Prospect Park. Ugh. Another person was attacked 2 weeks ago. So that's just crazy. In Rego Park. Yikes. So you can't feed the squirrels. That's the problem. They get too aggressive. You have to leave them alone. Well, let's see this video for a second.
He's right there. Eating.
Oh my god!
He's right there.
Watch this again.
Eating.
I mean, that's scary. I mean, thank goodness you don't have that in Fresh Meadows, but, you know, trust me, I would take 311's advice very seriously. I would hire, like what we did, and get a trapper, because this is not safe. You know, an exterminator should be called. I'm in agreement with 311. Oh my god, look at this. That's just scary. I mean, squirrels are supposed to be very calm animals. I don't know why this... Maybe because they do have rabies. I don't know. It's a rare case. Oh my god. I mean, that's just scary. I mean, if I was ever attacked, you know, again, I would go to the ER and I would definitely, you know, I wouldn't even call 311. I would just ask for an exterminator. I would start researching immediately. Alright, so let's get into some good news. The long-anticipated IHOP location in the Bay Terrace Shopping Center is officially going to open this week. So let's read this. Oh, speaking of which, there is more infrastructure news. I will read this. See if we can get some good news. Here we go. So, a Facebook post on the Bay Terrace Shopping Center said, the brand new IHOP will open. So the breakfast chain will open next to the fashion retailer Express. Will be open for pickup and delivery service. So there'll be no indoor dining until further notice because of New York City's restrictions. So here we go. It is going to open this week. That's some excellent news. A lot of people in the Bayside Queens Facebook group have been anticipating this news as well because obviously the only location we technically have is in Flushing on Northern Boulevard, which is, you know, okay. But I'm happy about this news. You know, this has been long awaited, and come to think of it, yeah, my dad's going to Ben's on Thursday, so I'll ask my dad if they're open. I'll definitely ask him, but this is excellent news. And speaking of one more good news regarding quality of life, anybody's interested, the new Penn Station is opening on Friday. So let's read this. Inside the old Farley Post Office building, the construction is done and everything will be set to go on New Year's Eve. And train operations will start on Friday. This is excellent news. This will increase Penn Station's capacity by 50%. About time. So, Cuomo said New Yorkers have been known for decades that Penn Station needs to be reimagined. Monahan Hall will be open on time and on budget. So, this is excellent news. This project began in 2017. So, about time. You know, we need this. So, there is a video. Let's see what the video is about. Oh, that's 2-minute video. Let's just fast forward through it. Ah, okay, interesting. So there's going to be another entrance. So wait a minute, this is the old post office, right? Wow. So we're actually going to have more train capacity. This is huge. I'm definitely glad about this. I mean, this is a long time coming. Especially in Midtown. Wow. I'm definitely going to see this new station next year. I mean, I hope I do. Because I want to see this for myself. There's always a chance in the new year I can make my way out. Because I want to see this station so badly. You know, it's... anticipating it is the word. Right. So, with that, we're going to wrap this all up. So, thank you all very much for watching, and until the next one, please take care.